I saw myself as the weakest human being on the planet. And I wanted to transform that into the hardest man God ever created. Who's gonna carry the boats? When you go to war with yourself, you find a lot of peace because you know exactly who you are. When you quit, your mind says, we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, you, I run this motherfucker. You gotta tell your brain where you wanna go and how you wanna go and how you wanna get there. Stay fucking hard! That warrior mentality that I'm so proud of, I wasn't born with it. I was not always this strong guy you see. I went through a lot of hard times in my life to get here today. What changed me was I had to be hard on myself. And I had to continue to grind myself into a fine dust. The only way I could find myself was to put myself through the worst thing possible. I was a scared, uneducated kid who stuttered, and I had to look at myself in the mirror and hold myself accountable for who I wasn't and who I wanted to be. Nothing was coming back to save me, so I realized I had to save myself. You gain knowledge through suffering, and on the other end of suffering is a world that very few have ever seen. It's a beautiful world, because that's where you find yourself. You gotta go into that hellhole of life that you have that fucked you up and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's gonna take you way outside of being comfortable. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. You gotta do your best work when you're least motivated. So those days you don't wanna do it, guess what you gotta do? You gotta suck it the f up and do it. You have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. The things I don't enjoy that I still do, that's where growth is at. And that's, for me, the only place growth is at is in that uncomfortable zone. So you want to be normal. So you just want to be like everybody else that roams the world, not knowing the power that's in them, being fine with being mediocre. You want to go back to who you were, huh, David? I want my mind to know who's in charge. So for the better part of 26 years, my mind was in charge of me, which is why I made all these horrible decisions. But once you take control of your mind, you start making decisions for yourself versus your mind making decisions for you. So basically, a lot of us aren't prepared for life. We get up willy-nilly and just hope life is gonna happen. It is gonna happen, but it's gonna happen with a prepared mind or an unprepared mind. Most people attack life with an unprepared mind. What I do is I try to account for all things that could happen, might happen, probably will happen, and then the unknowns. So basically, I can't account for everything, but I do know there could be some things that come up in life that you need to be ready for. I know for a fact I'm not going to want to work out tomorrow. Therefore, I'm preparing my mind for that. I don't want to do that. I know tomorrow will come with some difficult decisions to make. It may come with getting a phone call saying someone died, this happened, that happened. I'm always preparing myself, not in a morbid way, but just like, look, man, be ready for life. Don't let life just start attacking you left and right. Make sure that you start to build a mental armor, so then you're ready for life. And that comes with a very physical way, and the physical helps out the mental. I realized at a young age how to change myself was through discipline. And the military didn't teach me that. It was something I realized I had zero discipline, zero self-discipline. And I realized I have to start developing this. And I started really because I was horrible at reading and I was horrible at writing. I have so many learning disabilities, it's not even funny. So I just sit down at the table and spent so much time in this, reading and writing and learning. And that kind of translated over to my self-discipline with working out. So that's where it started. I started when I was about 16 years old and said, well, I'm a 4th grade reading level. You know, let me go ahead now and start really focusing because I'm not gonna get in the military because I got past the test. So that's where it started for me. It's more important to own your weaknesses You have to really triple down on those, man. Because why? You want to become a full human being. We like to run away from weaknesses. Like for instance, if you're good at running, all you want to do is run. If you're great at reading, you have several books. But we don't do those things that we're not good at. So for me, I realized, man, like I keep on running away from these things I'm not good at. I have to dive into these things. I have to become one with these things, and that's what happened. And so I own them both. Yeah. And I talk very openly about them both. I see a whole bunch of people walking around out here who have no idea how talented they truly are. Now I'm talking about talent, like some God-given ability. Talent that sometimes you have to hone, you have to work on, you have to harness yourself. And they just walk around just on their phones, just clueless to how powerful they are. The biggest thing you have to do is shut off technology. You have to go dark. And what I mean by that is you have to be quiet in your mind. Get away from people. We love being around people. We love talking. We love parties. We love all that. It's okay to be alone. It's also okay to be unhappy. It's okay to be unhappy sometimes, man. It's okay to say, you know what, man, I'm up. So you gotta go to the truth first. Who are you? Get really accountable. And say, okay, who am I? What's the truth about me? Get to that dark place in your mind. Figure out, it may take months, it may take years. Figure out your purpose. Figure out what you want to be in life. And then from there, okay, I have my purpose. It may take a long time. No one knows their purpose because it's too loud. Find your purpose. From there, all right, you gotta start planning. People love the planning phase because it's very comfortable. And then from the planning phase, you gotta go to execution. So the execution phase is what we all hate, because that's where the real work begins, and that's when the failure happens, and the failure. So, but you know, that's kind of how you have to do it, because every day is a battle. Every day is a battle because your mind wants to choose the path of least resistance. Every day. But you don't become better by ever doing that. You become normal, and I don't want to be normal. So it may not be a life for everybody, but I find a lot of peace in not being normal in my life.
So if you could define happiness for you, what would that be?
It's overcoming yourself at all costs, whatever that takes. To be at the point of your life where you don't care about being judged. You can be in a room of 1 million people and they all hate you, and you walk in and you're like this. Not because you're angry at them, because you know yourself. Inside and out, and you know that you've put yourself through hell to be where you're at today. You've walked the walk, you've talked the talk, and you've walked the walk. And that's, to me, what it's all about. It's all about putting those boots on the ground and getting after it every day. And once you do that, you have a feeling about yourself that no one can ever take away or even understand.
Life is always giving you a test, trying to give you a way out, trying to give you an excuse not to show up. You gotta have the mentality to show up every day of your life. No matter what life throws at you, it's our responsibility to show up in the Coliseum of life.
Life beat me the up bad. I mean, I was knocked out in the 12th round of a 15-round, heavyweight bout. I was knocked out. But what happened was, in the 12th round, when the challenger turned his back on me, I was getting up. And I got up and won the next 3 rounds and knocked that motherfucker out in the 15th round. So that's my mind about can't hurt me. Yeah, I was hurt, man. Like, literally, I had to overcome so much those first 26 years of my life, and I still do every day today. It's not over. But the mentality of can't hurt me is just that. No matter what's in front of you, man, you have to face, you have to confront, you have to overcome and move forward. So my father, some of the kids that bullied me, my learning disabilities, all these things I went through in life, stuttering, had so many different issues, failing, I had to overcome them, or they would have overcame me. I was able to look at my childhood and how I grew up as the ultimate training ground for my life. There has to be some people in this planet Earth who have my mentality. As gross as it is to some people, and as far off as it is and not understood, there has to be some people like me on this planet Earth. Has to be some warriors out there that are able to take this mindset and do something with it. So that right there, once you are able to look at your life and realize that all these bad things are actually the ultimate training ground for what you're going to, encounter in life, you start looking at your past very differently. I'm still examining human potential. How far can the mind go? How far can we go as human beings? But it's amazing that once you get control of that thing, how far you can go. At the end of the day, I asked myself one question: can I take one more step? And usually the answer is yes. So if you can answer that question and not take another step, that is real failure. That is real quitting. So a lot of people can take one more step, but they choose not to. I don't know if you can take 2 steps. You got to answer that question after you take the first step. But I can always take one more step, so if I choose not to, that's on me. And I got to live with that. Most people think I'm just some animal who runs and yells and just says "in mother" all the time. And that's nowhere near the truth. That's maybe what they see in a 1-minute video, and that's what we believe. But there's a lot of thought behind a person being a born loser, becoming who I am today. You don't just wake up and just rocky. You gotta wake up and think about, there's a process to getting better. For me, I built Goggins from the ground up. I was born David Goggins. David Goggins wasn't good enough. He was a scared, bullied, abused kid. That kid, whenever something got tough, no matter how hard I trained, no matter how ready I was, whenever something got tough for me, David Goggins, the real David Goggins, would come out and he would quit. So I realized this over a period of time. So I had to build Goggins. And in that process, I had to go back to that mental lab. And that mental lab is at scratch. That mental lab is in that trained humility. And so that's where I get better. I get better when I'm digging holes in the ground, when I'm waking up early knowing I don't have to do these things. That's where I get better.
What do you think most people get wrong about motivation?
They think it's a permanent fix. They think it's something that is a constant. They think that maybe once I get it, I'm gonna hold on to it. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of a spark, you can burn a whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. And that's the tricky part about all that. Motivation is just a word. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there, because I'm not going to always be motivated. Learn to pick yourself up on your own. You got to be your own coach. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief, because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays in their minds, kill them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. I'm not trying to send a message of run 200 miles, be the baddest motherfucker in the world, but be tough. You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better. And break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's gonna come. The devastation, the trauma is gonna come. And you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
Unchosen suffering is going to happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you can practice for the unchosen suffering, is have chosen suffering. Do something that sucks every day. I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch, refuse to study a few more hours, refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. You become very, very powerful when you overcome yourself. You have to want it. You have to want to be better. And it starts off with you have to have pride in yourself. You have to have pride in yourself. You have to have, there's something about you, whether it's your last name, whether it's just the smallest thing, you have to be proud of yourself. And if you have no pride in yourself, I can't give it to you.
Because you're always going to compromise. You're always going to fold.
Always. I'm very proud of myself. Now I'm not talking about bad pride. The attention to detail for the human being I want to do. I call this thing, like, I want to be the standard. I want to be that guy. Like, every place I went in the military, there was this ethos about how this place is, how we're going to live, how we're going to represent ourselves. And I walked around and I saw that most people didn't live up to that ethos. Like, if you go to whatever company, they have this mission statement on how we want to run our company. I made one for myself on how I want to be. And that is why, if people can make up a mission statement, an ethos in which they want to live by, and every morning you wake up, you hold yourself accountable to that mission, not a company's, your own. Make up your own mission statement. What do you want to be in life? And once you do that, now you can work with somebody to get better. You can work with yourself to get better. But until you know what you want to stand for, you will always just be sitting down. You'll never stand for anything. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, I run this mother. And that's what that's all about. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. You have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. The mind has the tactical advantage over you at all times. At all times of your life, the mind has a tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows what you're afraid of. It knows your insecurities. It knows your deep, dark lies. And it starts to push you away from that shit. It pushes you in a direction that is comfortable. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, I run this motherfucker. When that alarm clock goes off at 4 or 5 in the morning, your mind says no. You just say, it's just what we do. It's what we do now. Because to get to where you want to go, the amount of pain involved, I'm not saying physical, I'm not saying you got to break yourself off. The amount of mental pain of how many times you're going to have to do something that you don't want to do to get to where you want to go. There's going to be more times you do something that you don't want to do than you are going to want to do it. That's your new norm. That's your new norm. And then once you do this over and over and over again, it becomes like breathing. I don't want to live this lifestyle, but to get to the other side of this, I have to. The only way you're ever going to get to the other side of this journey is you have got to suffer to grow. To grow, you must suffer. We have the ability to go in such a space If you're willing to suffer, and I mean suffer, your brain and your body, once connected together, can do anything. I'm trying to build people up. I'm trying to armor their mind. I'm trying to get them the belief. Because this world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you. So if I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life. You gain knowledge through suffering. And on the other end of suffering is a world that very few have ever seen. It's a beautiful world because that's where you find yourself. Every day you have to do this shit. Because why? When you stop doing it, you don't just maintain it. If you stop shooting a gun, you're not gonna be a great shot if you pick a gun up a year from now. If you wanna be great, you wanna be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you're gonna be misunderstood by everybody because you're gonna be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes. It takes every second of your life. Anybody says balance? Yeah, balance is important for a lot of people. It is. But if you want to go to that edge where people do not like you, don't understand you, question everything you do, you've arrived. When you are misunderstood to the point where people think you're psycho and you're nuts and you're this and that, why are you in the gym at 1 o'clock in the morning? You will never understand what is wrong with me. And that's why I'm so glad you don't, because I'm in the right spot. When people don't understand you anymore, you're in that spot of obsession and drive. When people are like, what the is wrong with this guy? I don't want to talk to you, man, because you're not going to get it. I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the is in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read again. Still not getting it. Read again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back until the shit just becomes, your mind was safe. Okay, we're gonna figure it out because he is not going to stop. It's not like I'm gonna try one more time. No, it's just like alarm clock goes off, boop, we're going back. I can't read right, we're going back. I gave myself no way out and my mind realized that. They said, okay, we're gonna adapt and overcome now. A lot of us wanna find peace first. Some people say, man, you always talk about this suffering and pain and shit. I'm at peace right now because I went through that. You don't find peace first. If you do, Merry Christmas, more power to you. I found peace on the opposite end of finding myself. And no one really finds himself without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every day for doing right for yourself, for the people next to you, it's miserable. One thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, mother, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore. Not getting civilized is about having a savage mentality. It's a comfortable world. A lot of us say, like for instance, I see these athletes right now who retire, I'm 38, I'm 39, I did 20 years at the top of my game, and I'm chilling out now. You see them a year later and how they look. What the hell just happened to you? What the hell? You're one of the greatest athletes of all time. Kids looked up to you. Women, men of all ages looked up to you. And they hit the pinnacle where it's time to retire, and their mind says, I'm civilized. The worst thing that could ever happen to any human being is they become civilized. It's that total accountability. Like even when you retire, there's a mother looking at me and judging me right now, man. I was the baddest person to ever live. It doesn't go away, man. You gotta wake up, even though you retired, you never retired. You're setting the example every single day of your life. And being civilized feels so good. But I'm sorry, man. Once you get to the top, you may retire, but you ain't never coming back home, man, because now you're judged. People see you falling off. You want to be that guy who knows I may be retired from the sport or from whatever I did, but I'll be damned if you ever see me looking like shit, feeling like shit, not arriving I've arrived. I've arrived mentality. You're always setting the example. Civilization feels so good. These comfortable feelings are what people want. They want retirement. They want that. They need that. It's a yearning feeling. I want it too. People love putting a label on me about, my God, man, you're just wired different. I'm not wired different, dude. I'm thinking right now, after I got past my stuttering thing, now I'm on a roll, I'm good now. You know what I'm thinking about right now? I gotta wake up tomorrow and do the same shit again. I gotta leave this interview and go stretch out for 2.5 hours. I hate that shit. But guess what it does though? I'm constantly callousing over my victim's mentality that I once had growing up. Every day you have to do this shit. The only way to keep from getting rusty is to constantly owe that machine. The machine is this. You gotta keep challenging it every day. How do I do it? How am I able to do what I do on a daily basis? You know, how do I fight the demons? Because they hear me speak and I'm very raw and real. How do you fight my insecurities? All these things. And they're there every day. They're there every day. I'm in search for a feeling. I'm not in search for a trophy. I'm not in search for love. I'm not in search for more followers on Instagram or social media. When I started this journey years ago, and I realized that I'm going to be somebody, and I'm searching for a feeling of true victory for myself, and only myself. The second I shut out the whole world and realized that one thing, that I am in this world alone. I'm fighting in this race by myself. Yeah, I'm all about people, I'm all about team, I'm all about that shit. But I'm really all about right now and in my life, no one knows the real truth about me, how hard I really go. I don't care if anybody knows. I don't want anybody to know. I'm an introvert. I live an introverted life. And I love that about me. That right there is my fuel, is I know that there's really no one out there grinding like me. And if they are, so be it. If I know about you, I'll make sure that I up my game. That's what the mentality is all about. My whole thing is a mentality thing. I viewed myself as the weakest person on the planet Earth. I was just an insecure, scared kid. And the only way I could find myself was through putting myself through the worst thing possible. My goal in life was to, in my mind, believe I'm the hardest man alive. And that's why the whole thing is can't hurt me. That's what it's about. It's about whatever you think you are, you have to make that dream a reality. But that's where the hard part is making that dream reality. That's where the hard work comes. That's where people know, how do you keep grinding every day? You have to make those insecurities, those fears. Like when I was 300 pounds, I didn't have any drive. I'm gonna go be a Navy SEAL. What kind of stupid shit is that, 300 pounds? There wasn't like a drive to go be a Navy SEAL. I was an insecure, lying kid, afraid. I had to look at my insecurities and in my fear and find drive in that. We're all looking for passion. Passion's all around you. You have a whole stack of it all around you. It's your insecurities, all that shit. You gotta dive deep in that shit. It's all in there. All the energy and fuel you need is right in yourself. It's all there. You got a lot of stuff to do to overcome. And you know, that's where I found it. I found it right there in my own insecurities. I found drive in my own insecurities. And that's the most powerful thing in the world. When you can find drive in your own doubt, fear, insecurities, you become very unstoppable.
Let's say you're in the hospital bed and you're getting ready to die and somebody walks in the room and you have one copy of your book and it's sitting right there on the table. And you're taking your last breath and you're talking to this person and you say to them, I want you to read this book. As you're dying, think about this. That book that you just wrote, would it change their life forever? And if it's not changing their life forever, you have to rewrite your book. You have to start rewriting it right now. I wanted to live my life in a way that when I died, I was proud of myself. I know what pride felt like. And if it took pushing myself to death, I was willing to do that. But I want to look in that mirror
Not impress anybody, not money, not fame, not nothing. I wanted to impress the guy in the daggone mirror. And I worked endlessly and tirelessly to do that. And it happened. I see what is not the norm, what's impossible, what all the theorists say you shouldn't be doing this. That's the wrong way to go. And I'm like, let me see if I can pull this shit off. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. I really started to enjoy seeing what the human mind was capable of and seeing that what is so horrendous, there's so much joy and glory in this shit. The most important conversation is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, you go to bed with it. Eventually, you act on it. Sometimes you act on it good, sometimes bad. You gotta change the internal dialogue. That person in your head that's talking that shit to you, until you change the internal dialogue in your head, until you callous over the victim's mentality that the world is out to get you because of you are the only, you gotta change that shit, man. I get that mentality. I once had that mentality that no one understands what the f I'm going through. And if you keep that mentality, you're gonna stay in the same exact spot that you're in. I saw myself as the weakest human being on the planet. And I wanted to transform that into the hardest man God ever created. Your mind takes control of you. You have to say, you, I run this motherfucker. You have to be your best self when you're least motivated. You have to have these different things in your mind on where you want to go and know that motivation is not going to get me there. The only thing that changes your DNA is discipline. If you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. You have to be willing to fail 100 times to succeed once. And if you're not willing to do that, man, you're not going to even get a fraction of what you're looking for. There's a new bar that you must always set in your life. And once you become complacent and you become civilized, you've arrived, you're no good for anybody. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey is different. I was on a journey to see who David Goggins was. And that journey took me in some of the hardest areas a human being can even imagine. And right now, I'm the happiest person on the planet because, you know, I had to climb Mount Everest several times just to look down on my life to see what hell I came from. And that's what kept me going through all this stuff. Like I envisioned myself going through, like when I was a young kid and they called me all the time. My dad beat the hell out of me and I had no self-esteem. I had this vision of, if I can make it to where I want to go, imagine when I look back on my damn life, how proud I will be. And now I'm here. I'm able to look back on this life I lived that many people will never understand, because why? When you're passionate, they think you're crazy. And you can't even explain to people why you're doing or why you did what you did, because you found your purpose. And once you found your purpose, you can't really explain it to normal people because they don't understand passion, because they live everyday life just going, not really finding their purpose. So I become a foreign language to people. So they put me in the category of, you're just crazy. No. I'm passionate. I found my purpose in this life. If you want to be great, you want to be the baddest motherfucker ever at what you do, you're going to be misunderstood by everybody because you're going to be so obsessed and so driven to get there. That's what it takes. The first step you have to do is face yourself and be accountable for what you're not, so then you can be what you want to be. I call myself fat because I was fat, and people don't want to do that. They want to say, oh, don't call yourself fat. Don't call yourself dumb. If you're not real and raw with who the f you are, nothing's going to change. And in this nice new world that we live in, we want to hear, you're just a little big. No, man, you might be fat. How you address it is you face it. You face it every day. You face it every single day of your life, where you say, okay, like if you're fat and you need to lose weight, it's patience. It's patience in this fact of accepting who you are right now. I'm fat. I don't like myself. Accepting the fact that if you lose 3 or 4 pounds, that's a huge accomplishment. I started realizing, man, just by going to war with myself every day and putting these challenges and these goals and these obstacles, these insurmountable obstacles. So it wasn't about losing 106 pounds. Me losing 5 pounds was an accomplishment. Me losing 10 pounds and then 50 pounds. The more I did this, the more I gained confidence. I was just working. I was just sacrificing. And then through that, all these different tools started coming up. But I would have never found these tools if I didn't put myself in a very uncomfortable place. We all look for toughness. We all want it, but we look for it in a comfortable environment. You will not find toughness in a comfortable environment. Those of you who are listening to this, whoever hear this, you will not find it. I was trying to look for it everywhere. The only way you find it is to drown yourself in a position where you're just out of sorts, where you can't swim and you're drowning. Where you're drowning. You're drowning in life. But you say, you know what, man? I'm gonna figure out how to backstroke or something. When you quit, your mind says, we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say, you, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind is it does this. It says, he's not leaving. So we gotta expand. We gotta grow. We gotta figure this thing out. We're only 1% away from true greatness. There's a big difference between 99% and 100. I always thought that I was given 100%. I wasn't. But I was only 1% from making that money, from being where I want to be, from having everything in life that I've ever dreamed of. But it's that 1% that we sleep on. It's that 1% that we wake up in that morning and we're like, you know what? Not today. Maybe tomorrow. Well, guess what? That's why it's so easy to be great nowadays, because most motherfuckers are weak. And if all you do is when you are trying to hit that motherfucking snooze button on life, not in the morning, on life, just know this, all the it takes is thinking about all those weak motherfuckers who are taking a day off. And trust me, you will come up real fast. Like I say, it's easy to be great nowadays because motherfuckers are just weak, very soft. Well, I believe that you have to build belief. Belief is like, there's an after school special belief where the mom says, believe in yourself, and that's all great, but there's also a built belief. And the built belief is one where you are constantly, like for me, I came from a bad place. How I build belief is through the daunting tasks I put myself through. So that's proof positive that I can. So it correlates. And that's how this piece of kid that I once thought I was built belief by saying, I was in 3 Hell Weeks. I went to Ranger School. I tried out for Delta Selection.
Undeniable stack of proof.
That is proof, motherfucker. So whenever you think you can't, confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. It can't be like, hey, I'm gonna go knock that shit out. You gotta look over here and say, I can knock that shit out. It's belief, and it's built on what you put in to yourself. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. I was able to dream outside those 4 walls of that small town. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become.
What do you mean, don't make dreams your master?
A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a SEAL, or dream about being an astronaut, and all it is a motherfucking dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become their master. When you become the master of your dream is when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL, and you say, okay, I'm gonna lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. The dream was the one thing I thought about and the dream was now gone. Now, what comes in, the dream goes away, and the laundry list of details and tasks come up. Gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. That's when you become the master of your dream. So, a lot of people out there dreaming. We are all great. No matter if you think you're dumb, no matter if you think you're fat, no matter if you are fat, no matter if you've been bullied, we all have greatness. It just, you gotta find the courage. You gotta find the courage to put your Bose headphones on and silence the noise out of this world and to find it. You have to get in a quiet place in your brain. We all live on our phones, we all live on Google, we all live in this whole social media world that I really hate. I absolutely hate it. Why you can't find purpose? Because in your head, there's a bunch of noise. When I was younger growing up, they called me this, they called me that. I had all that noise in there. The second I put on the kind of quote unquote Bose headphones and silence the noise, I listened to my internal voice. Half of us live our whole lives and never even listen to what the hell we want to do. Get off the podcast. Don't be on social media too much. Cut out all the noise. Get back to the mental lab. You don't know what you want to be because you haven't spent time, real time with yourself. Spend time with yourself. Trust me. And once you find that passion, that purpose, your goals, your purpose, everything will just start lining up. And then you'll find the courage to start that journey. You have to believe that you are here on this earth for a reason. And if you don't believe that you're here for a reason, your life will seriously hurt. And I started looking at my life and all the shit I went through as God put me, God, whatever you believe in, put me here to go through this. And now I see all the hundreds of thousands of lives I'm changing by the hell I went through. There's a lot of power in that. So my purpose, as I started going through this journey, instead of looking at like, woe is me, God, man, why? I started looking at it as the perfect training ground. You knew exactly what you were doing. You knew exactly what the you were doing, obviously. You put me in every situation possible to tell a story that needed to be told. The reason why my story resonates with people, because I don't hide. I'll tell you exactly who the I am. I will admit to it. People are great at hiding. So they want to just find peace. No, you got to take your shit, fix whatever's up in you. Don't just shove it under the rug. Fix it, and then you'll find some peace later. How the 297-pound cockroach guy who quit on everything is now considered one of the baddest men on the planet? How is that possible? It means I had to change one thing, my mindset. I had to believe and make that belief work. And through hard work, I did that. I also believe that we're going to end up one day meeting a maker. And I believe that maker knows everything about you. Everything about you. Knows I was going to be here and talking to you. Knows everything. And the one thing that scares me to death in my life is getting to heaven and not being what I was supposed to be. And I believe that God has a chart, and he looks at the chart and he puts it in front of you when you get to heaven. He says, hey, this is what you're supposed to be. And one of my biggest fears in life was to see that chart and not have every block checked off. You know, I want to make sure that I'm constantly pursuing whatever it is I'm pursuing, just constantly grinding myself into a fine powder. That's my purpose now, to continue to push myself so others can see what is possible. Let's say you're in the hospital bed and you're getting ready to die, and somebody walks in the room and you have one copy of your book and it's sitting right there on the table. And you're taking your last breath and you're talking to this person and you say to them, I want you to read this book. As you're dying, think about this. That book that you just wrote, would it change their life forever? And if it's not changing their life forever, you have to rewrite your book. You have to start rewriting it right now. You have to make the decision whether you want to be a badass or whether you just want to be mediocre and everything's okay. But being a badass hurts real bad. Life isn't fair at all. At all. So what are you gonna do about it? It shouldn't be fair. It's a trial ground, it's a testing ground. It's built to make us harder. It's built to make us as strong as we can, to test us, to drive us. So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. I was an underdog. I knew that no one was coming back to help me. No one's gonna miracle me to be somebody special. Everybody that called me knew. My dad, my mom, all my situations were on me now. It's solely on me. So I had to start developing an indestructible mental toolbox, the most powerful weapon in the world. We walk around with it. It's our mind. You have to believe that you are here for a reason. That there's some reason, me getting beat up, me getting tortured, me being bullied, me being born no foundation, me having to figure all this shit out on my own, figure out this indestructible mental toolbox, had to be for a reason. And my reason, I believe now, I know for a fact, was to unlock the code of human potential. And for me to share that with people. I'm amazed at what a human being can actually do. I literally made this human being out of just like a whole bunch of scraps. And I started putting this scrap metal together. And after a while, I started learning more and more and more through pain and suffering, through all the failure I went through trying to build this person who's Goggins. The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, being able to look somebody in the eye and say, you know what, man, I have a whole bunch of character problems, character flaws. I've lied about this. I've cheated here. I'm insecure here. This isn't the real me. I lied to you about that. I wanted your acceptance in life. Life created this person, me. Life created me to be this person that I was back in the day. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix this shit though. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where this started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. One thing I'm most scared of in the world is losing touch with the best thing in the world is your mind. Your mindset, how you can picture yourself, how you can focus, how you can drive, how you can put yourself in so many situations to get out of it. Because those headphones we listen to, those phones that we Google to find information, there's so many situations in my life where that shit's not gonna help me. It's not gonna help me because I know what's helped me. None of that stuff's ever helped me. None of that stuff's ever helped me. What has helped me has been me alone, getting my shit together and being accountable for who I'm not and who I want to be. It's the only thing that's helped me. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box is comfortable. That's where all of our nice stuff, that's where the nice 4-lane highway's at. I know where the restrooms are at. I know where the gas stations are at. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown. And that's where I started realizing, man, like on the other end of this is some beautiful stuff. So I got outside my box and realized, man, 300 pounds, now look at me, I'm 185 pounds. And on the other side of the box was all this stuff. And I didn't know it was over there until I climbed the wall and saw it. I really started to enjoy the fact of seeing what the human mind was capable of and seeing that what is so horrendous, there's so much joy and glory in this shit. Taking souls, it's about finding energy and strength when you have none. There's energy all around us, but we think that we have to have it. It has to come externally a lot of times. We gotta have like a TV in front of us, watch somebody, listen to a podcast, listen to a great music. A lot of times in life it's fucking quiet. And those are the times when you want to run and hide. You gotta be able to find energy. You gotta make up games, make up tricks, make up whatever you can to get to the next evolution of life.
When you're running, you run for hours.
Days. The thing that makes me so pissed off in this world, man, is that so many people die with untapped potential because they think that someone else is better than them. And they were born, not with the greatest tools. You don't need shit. You need the ability to grind your ass into a fine powder. And when you're in that fine powder, find a way to build that motherfucker back up repeatedly. You have to always be willing to work. And a lot of people now are talking. I hear so much talk. I don't hear a lot of work. I hear a lot of people telling you what you should be doing, how you should be doing it, how you should be living. And I look at them and you're fat, you're out of shape, you look like shit, but you're telling the motherfucker how to live. The woe is me mentality. It's too hard. Life isn't fair. These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left, and you look to your right, and you start to judge yourself off other people. Everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many fucking people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow. We want to skip forward to peace. Let's skip all this pain and suffering and misery of real life. Let's cover it over, nice big blanket, and let's find peace. No, sorry, it's not possible. You gotta go into that fucking hellhole of life that you have that fucked you up and fix it. And that's what I'm here to do. You must go to war with yourself before you find peace. I'm trying to give you tools on how to do that. And I'm not considering smile and be happy about it. It's a hard journey. It's a real journey. It's a journey that's gonna take you way outside of being comfortable. You'd be very, very uncomfortable.
I'm not a theorist, people. There's a bunch of people who are theorists who go to the library, study the mind. They study it in a book. I studied it by being a practitioner. I put my mind in hell and I realized how I was thinking, and I figured out tools and tactics on how to get through it by being in it, not by studying it, by being in it. I did 67,000 pull-ups in 9 months and it calloused my hands. It calloused my hands real good to protect my hands against the bar. I started learning how to callous my mind to callous over my victim's mentality, and that's what I did. And so they sent me to Johns Hopkins. Everybody studied my body. They studied everything. And one guy says, you know what? We can't find anything on how you did all this. How are you able to do all this? A head guy came in from MIT. And he said, you know how he did it? So, mentality is the only thing that gets us through life. And the can't hurt me mentality is no matter where you come from, the sewer, or wherever you think you're from. When I got out of the sewer, I got to the road and looked around and said, can't hurt me. Nothing should be able to hurt you. If you believe that, it starts to become true. I wanted to live my life in a way that when I died, I was proud of myself. I know what pride felt like. And if it took pushing myself to death, I was willing to do that. But I want to look in that mirror, not impress anybody, not money, not fame, not nothing. I wanted to impress the guy in the daggone mirror. And I worked endlessly and tirelessly to do that, and it happened.
I actually sat back when I was fat, nasty, out of shape, miserable, and created a human being in my mind that didn't even exist. And said, that's what I want to be. I want to be that guy. I want to be a guy that's capable of doing exactly what I'm doing today. If you weren't born that guy, that mentally strong guy, he can't be made. But in making that person, you have to be who the you are every day of your life and never care about anybody who gets in your way that said you're not doing something the proper way. When you get beat as bad as I did, I lied all the time. I wanted to be accepted and loved and all that shit that I created about 50 people. Whatever you like, I like. Just be my friend. And that's where we get lost in life. You start to create a whole bunch of people that aren't even yourself. You never figure out who you are. You never live up to your dreams, your ambition. You live up to what whoever is around you that you like so much, that you want to emulate and be like so much, you live their dreams. You lose your power. You lose your power. The ultimate power is owning yourself. So how did you get to where you are? I became feelingless. And what that means is I'm not saying turn off your feelings towards your family, your wife, your husband. I'm not saying that. Turn your feelings off when it comes down to you wanting to be better. What that means is when that alarm clock goes off, your feelings gotta go away. it's raining outside, it's cold outside, when you don't want to put those long hours in at work, that's what I'm talking about. Your feelings must go away. When you know everybody's gone home to their families, but you want to be the top salesperson in the world, or you want to be the best lawyer in the world, whatever it is, when everybody leaves to go home and there's only one light on in a building, a 15-story building, and only one office. Every office is dark. There's one office with one light on, and as those motherfuckers go from the club, they look up every day, 2 o'clock in the morning, they see that light's always on. That's the motherfucker right there you gotta be. You can't have feelings about when everybody leaves. Oh man, I wish I was going home to my beautiful family. That is true, but you gotta learn to shut your feelings off if you want to achieve greatness. Hope ain't gonna get you. Everything happened for me. And we always fall back on what's comfortable to us. What's comfortable for me was, if it's easy for me, I'm gonna do it. And so when I was going through pararescue training, I ran up against an obstacle that I didn't think I was gonna run up, and it was the water. I hated the water. But I tried hard to get over that. And I would go to the pool and I would try, but my mind wasn't strong enough. David Goggins, even with all the discipline, I didn't have that next level. When you're truly committed to something, not like where you I want to be a doctor, but when I run into this roadblock, I don't want to be a doctor. No, I'm going to be a doctor come hell and high water. I needed that kind of commitment. And David Goggins didn't know about that commitment. I knew how to wash a car. I knew how to clean a house. I knew how to, do all these manual labor jobs. But when it came down to true suffering, to the highest of suffering, I didn't have that next level of, all right, motherfucker, we have this next level. David Goggins wasn't enough. So I went into my mental lab and realized, but I want to be great, but I don't have greatness in me. So I had to create a motherfucker that was great. And in my mind, I'm really big on visualization. And people might think it's all kind of bullshit. Believe what the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. This is the true shit right here, man. I went in my mind, I said, okay, I want to look like this. I want to feel like this. And I want to have a mind that is fucking cast iron steel. That is never dull. That is always sharp. That was the biggest thing I wanted. I wanted to hit obstacles that most love up, including myself, but I didn't waver. I didn't fear. I didn't run away. I just stayed and marinated in the fear, in the suffering. And through that, building Goggins, I will become Goggins when necessary. And I started to do these things on my own. I had my own training ground. I built a training ground. I wasn't Navy SEALs. If you go to Navy SEAL training not prepared, you're going to quit. So I built this training ground on my own. And I started doing these horrific things that David Goggins couldn't handle. But Goggins started slowly coming up. I started putting that visualization of the guy I wanted to create. And in that water, when things got hard, when I was training on my own, Goggins would appear. Goggins would appear. When David Goggins would come up, Goggins would smack him the fuck down and say, no, motherfucker, we're gonna drag you through this. And that's kind of how it happened over a period of time. This man evolved. Goggins became the guy that can withstand all kind of torture and pain and keep coming after you. And that's where that next step with evolution became. Well, I put it this way, man. A lot of people say, don't be like him, like me. And I get it. And you say, was it worth it? It was worth it. I'm going to challenge these people who say, man, that's a little too much. It is. Which is why most of my message is for everybody. When it comes down to the uncommon, amongst the uncommon, it is only for 0.0000001%. And these are the people who want to be the uncommon amongst the uncommon. I'm talking about Grover. Michael Jordan is in that category. It's those people who realize what they want, and beyond all things, I'm going to achieve it. So if you don't want to be like me, I get it. But is it so bad that a person has millions of dollars in the bank? Is it so bad that a person has 2 of the top books in the world, top of the list of all time? Is it bad that a person's broke all kind of records? Is it bad that a person's been the Navy SEAL, Army Ranger, gone to Delta Force training, gone to Air Force, smoke jumper? Is that bad? Is that bad that by 47 years old, you're trying to find what to do next? Is that so bad? Because you've done everything in the world, because the second you thought about it, you did it? If that's bad, I don't want to see what good is. So why it's bad to most people? Because it looks exhausting, and it is exhausting. And that's why it's bad to most people. Most things that are bad to people is because they can project what the f it takes to get there. And as they're projecting that shit, they're like, oh man, dude, you're destroying your life, your health. You have no family, you're unbalanced. I can make it a million things. But what the real thing is, you projected what that shit looks like, and it looks like hell. It looks like hard work. It looks like suffering. It looks like a dedication that people don't understand. And it is that. But that, at the end of all that shit, my friend, I front-loaded my life. Front-loaded. Everything I wanted to do, I did the second I thought about it. Now, at 47, I am 100% retired, and I still live like I'm not, by choice. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that we have nowadays, yeah, it's great. We're up to date, but your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through death, real life. You can't Google that, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in the day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. What existed for me was, okay, man, how am I going to make this work? And all I knew back then was hard work. The only way anything gets accomplished. That's all I heard back in those days. You gotta work hard. You gotta work hard. I'm not getting I can't get this paragraph. I can't remember what the f***'s in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read again. Still not getting it. Read again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And that's how I started learning. Okay, well, I gotta write out everything I do. And then write it out again. And write it out again. And guess what happened? I got it. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back until this just becomes, your mind will say, okay, we're gonna figure it out, because he is not going to stop. It's not like I'm gonna try one more time. No, it's just like alarm clock goes off, boop, we're going back. I can't read right, we're going back. I gave myself no way out, and my mind realized that. They said, okay, we're gonna adapt and overcome now. Like a lot of people say, trying hard. Your mind knows, man. It knows this guy's bull, man, this guy's lying. There's no truth behind it. When I was in Navy SEAL training, people go, how were you there for 18 months? The program was only 6 months long. You were in 3 hell weeks in 1 year. No one's ever done that. How did you do that? I talk about the new norm. When I lived in a $7 a month place when I was growing up for a short period of time, I loved it. I didn't know any different. That was my norm. Once we moved out of that place, we moved to a $236 a month place. I was like, I never want to go back to that little piece of shit. But if you go back to that $7 a month place, And you realize this is where I live. This is all I got. Your mind says, roger that, this is home. So when I was going through Navy SEAL training for 18 months and going back through all the hard parts over and over again, I told myself after the first time, I knew it was gonna be a long journey there. My body was breaking down. It was just how it was going on. I said, you know what, this is my new norm. So my mind said, it's like going to work. Like you go to work, you put your suit and tie on, I go into suffering every day. Every day, suffering, being broken, duct taping my feet up, stress fractures, shin splints, being broken. This is my new norm. And your mind says, if we're not broken, this ain't normal. We gotta be broken. So then your mind starts to get tougher and tougher and more callous. People, how did you run on broken feet? Broken shins. My mind knew this is how we operate. We're in Navy SEAL training. This is what we are. I became hell. And that became my new norm. I gave myself no way out. There was nothing outside these walls of hell. Nothing. I love God, but for a short period of time, I became the devil because that was hell. I became the boss, the owner, the CEO of Navy SEAL training. That was my mindset. And that's how you get through things. You immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that. You become that and give yourself no way out. When I was 297 pounds and I was fat as hell trying to be a Navy SEAL, the scariest thing in the world to me, even to this day, was that could have been the rest of my life. I thought then I was trying hard. That's the scariest thing in the world. I thought then, 297 pound, working for Ecolab, spraying for cockroaches, making $1,000 a month. I thought that was me at my 100% potential. Come to find out, a few years later, I wasn't anywhere near that. 106 pounds less, graduated Navy SEAL training, went on to do all these other things. Looking back on that was me trying hard. That's why people gotta understand, what is in us, we have no idea until we start trying hard. And I mean really trying hard, where you're obsessed with, hey, this is my new norm. My new norm is that, wow, this isn't always fun. It's not always meant to be fun. And that's when you know you're trying hard. People hear my story and think this guy is sadistic. I realized how the brain works. I figured out how the brain works. I'm a scared kid, and that's what gives me so much power. I had no foundation, and I built this off of just researching the mind. The feeling you get is basically invincibility. You realize that you can't do it all the time. When you need to do it, I know I can go to a place that I can live in. And when you know that you can run on broken legs and you can do certain things that a lot of people can do, but they're not willing to do, this power, this sympathetic nervous system of fight or flight, and you're fighting. It gives you this charge of energy of when you're sitting there at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning and you're duct taping your feet up because they're broken, and you're doing it by yourself, and you're going through arguably one of the hardest training in the world. And these guys, most of them are healthy, and you're going through it broken, and you're already at a disadvantage, but you're still there. You can feed into that and tap into that for a lot of power. But if you look at it, well, I'm broken, man. I'm not gonna make it. But if you look at it as, man, I'm broken and I'm still here. And I'm fighting, and I'm gonna find a way to get through this because I have no other place to go. It gives you a lot of power. When things start to suck really, really bad, my brain and a lot of people's brain, they don't go to your dad beating you up. Your brain says, we gotta get out of here. This is miserable. So anger goes away a lot of times when you're suffering because your brain just says, we gotta run, we gotta go. So that anger is not popping up saying, oh, I'm gonna show them, I'm gonna show those people. No, there has to be a much deeper. When I say deeper, it has to be down to mineral soil. It has to be down to that nice mineral soil where nothing can burn. You can't burn dirt. So it has to be down that low, that literally is something in you that's at the core of your soul. But you don't find it unless you spend a lot of time with what you want to be in life. I can't give that to you. You can't give it to somebody. When you find your true passion in life, and my passion for me was like, oh, I want to be, I didn't give Navy SEALs, Army, I don't give a shit. I want to serve my country. I want to be someone that I'm proud of. I want to look at myself in the mirror because I was so disappointed. That accountability mirror I talk about, I was so disappointed in what I saw every day. I wanted everybody to love David Goggins. And a lot of people did. I didn't love myself. But I knew a lot of us want to find peace first. So people say, man, you always talk about this suffering and pain and I'm at peace right now because I went through that. You don't find peace first. If you do, Merry Christmas. More power to you. More power to you. I found peace on the opposite end of finding myself. And no one really finds themselves without going through trials, tribulations, suffering, accountability. And accountability is suffering. Being accountable every day for doing right for yourself, for the people next to you, it's miserable. It's hard. So, even the smallest details. Dude, I'm not a masochist. I'm not crazy. I'm not this and that. People try to title me and label me. When I was growing up, I saw my mom getting beaten. I got beat. And I was some stuttering little black kid in an all-white school. And I used to go home and cry and be like, oh my God, man, I'm fucked up. I'm so fucked up. So I had to train one fucking thing. You better train your fucking mind. Because my talents can run out way early. When shit got hard for me back in the day, bro, I'm done. I'm out. See ya. Okay. I got to invent a motherfucker that can. So I invented Goggins. I invented a motherfucker that realized we're not good enough. But Goggins realizes we're mentally strong as and we're going to outstrength these motherfuckers in the mind. You need to work harder. You need to discipline your mind better. We need to help people more than just saying it's okay. It's okay that you're not willing to help yourself out. That's not okay. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. I came with this thing called perform without purpose. And so many people, they need to have a 5K, a 10K. I need to have a course in front of me. I need to have something in front of me for me to get my ass up and do some shit. And that used to be me. And nowadays, for the past 20-some years, I don't need purpose. And people miss out on this, man. The purpose, we're all looking for this golden purpose. Is it this? Is it that? Is it making money? Is it my family? The purpose is you. We forget that. Every day I wake up and I don't want to do some shit, I'm like, okay, man, do you want to be a bitch today? Do you want to feel like a little bitch? Do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? So it's perform without purpose. You have to learn how to get up and do shit when you ain't got no 5K, no 10K, nothing. Nothing exists. Your life sucks. You're in the dungeon. But guess what, I'm still going to get it. Because when that time comes, because the time is going to come, when that purpose is there, you'll be ready. But most of us aren't ready because we don't know how to do without having the golden carrot in front of us. And so you're off. Every step you take in that journey, as you're like, for me, I run every day. I hate it. But every step I take, I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you're beating the demon again. I made a decision, and my decision was to be the best person I could. And I basically, a lot of mornings I wake up and say, your feelings. And that doesn't mean like, don't take it literally, your feelings. But sometimes you have to go beyond what you're feeling. And my knees were fucked, but guess what? I wanted to run. And I knew that, okay, you can get knee replacements, this and that. It wasn't because I ran too much. People always want to say, oh man, you ran so much so you fucked up your body. You don't want to be like David Goggins. I hear it all the time. You don't want to be like David Goggins. I gave everything. I gave everything to who I am. I gave everything. And when you give everything, man, you have no regret. People didn't understand me. People don't understand me now. I don't give a f. I know exactly what I was doing. I'm not a masochist. I'm not crazy. I'm not this and that. People try to title me and label me. No, I had something to do.
The way I describe it to people when people ask me, like, why does he do all these things? Like, what is it? What is the motivation here? I go, he's on a mental journey that very few people have ever been on, because people don't understand you, or they misunderstand you, or they purposely misinterpret the way you're living your life. You're trying to understand your mind in a way that very few human beings ever get to understand their mind, because you're taking your mind into these terrible, dark places all the time, and you're trying to pull things out of that. You're trying to learn things about yourself and about your potential from that.
That's exactly it.
And that's what people don't understand.
I study the darkness. You find no fucking answers in the light. None. It's too happy, it's too nice. We don't need to be taught how to live in happiness. That just comes naturally to us. Happy moments, but the dark times, man, and you can't get there unless you put yourself there. Life will take you there, but when you get into those dark moments, that's why people, how are you able, man, I couldn't read and write till I was a junior in high school. How are you able to write like this, man? Motherfucker, I go to such places in my mind and I study the darkness. Like, it's not just physical. When I was growing up and I saw my mom getting beat and I got beat, and I was some stuttering little black kid in an all-white school, and I'm on stage and I gotta say one fucking line in front of 15 people, and I walk off stage kind of stutter. All those insecurities and all those things, man, I used to go home and cry and be like, oh my God, man, I'm fucked up, I'm so fucked up. Hang on, man. As I got older, we gotta study this shit, man. The only way we're gonna get through this is if we study it. So every time I'm in a dark moment and life's up around me, whether it be physical or just life, I get in it, man, with a pen and paper. I'm like, okay, this sucks. I can feel like I'm losing my shit, but let's study this. Let's come out of this genius. I studied the black matter of the mind, the dark matter, like Stephen Hawking. If that's his name, I said it right. That motherfucker studied the space and shit. That's where I consider myself, man. And so many people get it wrong, and I don't give a man. You can't, for me, I cannot help people. There's a lot of cookie cutter shit out here in this world. Oh, discipline, wake up early, take a cold shower, this, that, whatever. It's all bullshit. It's not. But what they don't teach you within the cookie cutter is, like, our minds are like a garage. And the garage, if you open a garage and it's all cluttered up, it's all up, you can't put your car in there. You got boats and you got kids' toys and shit everywhere. But if you organize that garage and you put everything in its rightful spot, you can put that car in there, you can put 2 cars in there, you can put bikes in there. And that's like with the mind. People talk about discipline and determination and repetitions and all this shit. Consistency. Why people fall off the wagon so often is because their mind is full of shit. There's no room in that mind for discipline. There's no room for consistency. They may do it once or twice, but then the mind takes over and that cluttered garage comes in, and then it's like a circuit breaker, man. A circuit breaker just overloads and sparks. And our minds, that's our mind, man. It's like a circuit breaker that has so much shit in it, you keep on loading it, you can't put any more into it. So I talk about it in there, man, so much about clearing space in your mind so that you have room for all those discipline, waking up early, taking those, because they do mean something. But we don't get to that dark matter that is keeping you from clearing out that mental garage.
That's a good way to put it, because that is the mind of most people, is filled with stuff that they have to move around to get to what they want, and it's constantly piling up, and there's shit unorganized. And
organized mind, man. You look at, I gotta take care of the kids' schedule's all f***ed up, my husband, my wife, I'm going by McDonald's to get this, and I'm rushing my schedule. Everything's just,
I wish I was doing this, but I'm doing that.
That's it.
And that and this. I want a raise, but I can't get one.
That's it.
My boss is an asshole.
Where's greatness in that, man?
Yeah.
You can't fit discipline into that. You can't fit structure. You can't fit consistency. You can't fit the grind. And then when you try, it gets overrun by the clutter in that mental garage. Every time I'm in a bad situation, like, I study it. And that's the only reason I do half the shit I do, is I'm studying this shit, because I know that I never thought I was gonna be writing books and trying to help people get better. But I was always trying to do it because I knew I sucked. And so when you know you're trying to get somewhere, you know you suck, you know that you believe that you're a born loser, you are taking snapshots, man. Like, you see something on your phone, It's like, oh man, I'm gonna take a snapshot of that, or how you do the little picture shit so you can save it on your phone. I do that in my mind. So when I get in these moments where I'm like, okay, wow, that's some good knowledge right there, man. I snapshot it because I know that I can use that later. I can use this because I'm not out there most people, they go out and they run and they go out and they do, and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. Look at the mountains and the shit and all this bullshit. No, I don't like it. My body hurts. I'm hurting. How do we get through this? It's a lab. It's my mental lab. And so when I come home, I'm not forgetting it. Every day I get done running, or every day I get through working, every day I get through studying, whatever it is that brings me to that place of knowledge. So I come home from running and I write everything out. People have talent, and this is going beyond your talent. When there's no more talent, what happens to you? Most people quit. People only go to their talent level. And once your talent level is gone, it becomes a mental game. That the whole mental game sets in then. And most people can only perform to their talent, and they realize, man, why am I always messing up right here? Why is this my big hurdle? It's because you're performing to your talent. And then after that, your mind has nothing for you. I see fighters, I see runners, I see people who they're great, but they get to the edge of their talent. It's like, man, what's up? Because you're now at the point now where your talent ain't gonna do shit for you, my friend. Now it's the mental game. And that's where people get lost in life, get lost in that next level. And that next level is found for me in the things that I do. First of all, I didn't have much talent. So I had to train one thing. You better train your mind, because my talents can run out way early. When shit got hard for me back in the day, bro, I'm done, I'm out, see ya. Okay, I gotta invent a motherfucker that can. So I invented Goggins. I invented a motherfucker that realized we're not good enough. But Goggins realizes we're mentally strong as and we're gonna outstrength these motherfuckers in the mind. And so many people just want it the easy way. I'm sorry, man. It's not. So what they start to do is they build this narrative of it's okay. When the narrative should be, you need to fucking work harder. You need to fucking discipline your mind better. We need to help people more than just saying it's okay. It's okay that you're not willing to help yourself out. That's not okay. It's not okay. It's not acceptable. Even though it's your life, if that's acceptable, that's unacceptable. And there's a lot of people in this world, me included, that if I accepted that, I wouldn't be anywhere. So yeah, a lot of people just, they start creating a narrative about themselves that make it okay. The ultimate get out of jail free card. And now the world is set up to have so many get out of jail free cards. Everything is okay. And you can't say a mother thing about it. Man, why are you always yelling? Guys, you. This is how I talk, bitch. Because I'm proud, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I'm a proud motherfucker, man.
Yeah.
And it's not proud like, look at me. It's like, I know where I fucking came from, bitch. I shouldn't be here right now talking to you. I shouldn't be talking to you, motherfucker. I shouldn't be here. I'm just a fat, sloppy motherfucker. I'm proud. So I'm able to tell you, I was up. Many people can't. It's not even real. All those mornings that you didn't want to get up, and I look at it as like a rock, and you find this fucking rock, and that rock is you. And every day you fight not wanting to get up, and you do anyway. You chip another piece off that rock, and every day you eat the right foods, and every day you go to train, you train harder and harder and harder and harder, and you get up earlier, and all these things you do to start forming yourself. You're chipping another fucking piece of that rock up. Before you know it, you have this beautiful piece of artwork that you built. And then once you get there, you see it, and it becomes real. Like, oh my God, I fucking did this shit. And so like the journey becomes so real then. But so many people aren't willing to chip away at that stone that is them, to start chipping off those rough edges.
That's the fear. The fear is never reaching your potential.
That's it.
That always falling short, always quitting before you're done, always procrastinating, always not doing the right thing. And then one day you're an old man.
Yep.
And you look back and go, God, I could have been great.
Yep.
I could have been great.
I never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was fucking just trying to become, I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there, and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself and I'm always in deep thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you motherfuckers in there are so upset with how you lived your life and fucking just regret how you lived it. And I'm running a 300-pound man thinking, man, don't fucking die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where this shit comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here? You know, I had to find purpose, and my suffering, it had a purpose. It had a purpose. Many people build confidence in different ways, and they build belief in different ways. Coming from where I came from, I didn't have any belief in myself. So some people can go read a book and get belief. Some people can go take a yoga class, have good parents. So where I came from was so far down underneath soil that I had to build belief by truly ingraining it in my brain. So the things I do, I'm always, every day, building belief. And my belief had to be where it is because I was so far down. So it may take a 200-mile run for me. It may take a 100-mile run. It may take late nights in the gym. But without belief, you have nothing. And I realized that when I was a young kid, I have no belief. I have to build it. And a 5-mile run didn't do it. I had to push myself to such extremes because I came from, people judge me by not knowing where I came from. So unless you're me and you came from where I came from, I guarantee you wouldn't have made it out. Guarantee it. And I knew that. So my belief comes from going, I had to build it. And that's how I build it, man. I build it by the things I do. I never cared about myself. Never. Never. Ever. Which makes what I do now for people, I understand. Because I care about people. Even though I'm an introvert because my fucking life sucked. But what I do for people, I really do. That's why I want to make sure that fucking book and things I do, that's why I don't, like, why don't you sell shit? Why don't you always, why aren't you like promoting this and that? And no, man. No, I care that you understand that I don't want to see you fucking kill shit. I want to see you better. The purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. That is the number one purpose in life, is to better oneself.
But where do you go to? You wake up on a morning, it's cold, it's wet, it's dark, you've got no cartilage in your knee, you've got shorts, whatever it is that's the issue today.
Keep talking. I need you to keep talking about what you were just saying.
It's warm on the couch.
That's
Your
it.
missus says stay in
That's
bed.
it.
It's comfy,
That's
it's cozy.
That's
You've got
it.
work later on. You had an argument last night. You're slightly
it.
hungover.
Because I know every mother ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. So this is how you level up. That's how you level up. I know there's a whole bunch of people with that right there. That fires me up. That makes me happy, what you just said. That brings joy to my life right there.
Why?
Because I know there's so many people that have the ability and just refuse to get off that couch. Refuse to study a few more hours. Refuse to go deeper, to go further. And that's where I gain the advantage. It's so easy to be great nowadays, my friend, because most people are weak. Most people don't want to go to that extra mile. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. It's lonely. I figured this out. Most of us are only 1 to 10% away from greatness. But we think we're so far away from it that we never try. And once I started going down this journey, I started realizing that, and those percents started to add up. And before I knew it, my mind started hardening, and I started passing so many different people that I thought were so far above me. And then before I knew it, man, I became uncommon amongst the uncommon. Life is a training ground. While you may live a long life, it doesn't mean you graduated at the top of the class. You just lived a long, boring, despicable life. And that's not what I wanted to do. When you're truly committed to something, not like where you like, I want to be a doctor, but when I run into this roadblock, I don't want to be a doctor. No, I'm going to be a doctor come hell and high water. I needed that kind of commitment. And David Goggins didn't know about that commitment. I knew how to wash a car. I knew how to clean a house. I knew how to, do all these manual labor jobs. But when it came down to true suffering, to the highest of suffering, I didn't have that next level of, all right, we have this next level. David Goggins wasn't enough. So I went into my mental lab and realized, but I want to be great, but I don't have greatness in me. So I had to create a mother that was great. And in my mind, I'm really big on visualization. I went in my mind, I said, okay, I want to look like this, I want to feel like this, and I want to have a mind that is cast iron steel, that is never dull, that is always sharp. That was the biggest thing I wanted. I wanted to hit obstacles that most people up, including myself, but I didn't waver. I didn't fear. I didn't run away. I just stayed and marinated in the fear, in the suffering.
I wanted to quit every single day, but many dreams die while suffering. And many of us out here have suffered. And when you're suffering, I'm not talking about just physically, I'm talking about emotionally, spiritually. It could be a relationship. When you're suffering, you give up on the very things that you wanted the most. When I was going through pararescue, I wanted to be a pararescueman so bad, but that water haunted me. So when the suffering got too much, my dream died. And pretty much I almost died with it. If I didn't find Navy SEALs and getting past that hump and overcoming my demons and facing my demons every day, I would have never been up here today. You can't outrun your demons. They'll always know where you're hiding. Trust me at that. Don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done.
It's not putting yourself down. People take this the wrong way in this new society. I'm not saying to put yourself down. I'm saying listen to the truth. And the truth isn't in the 20%. The truth is in this other part of your brain saying, look, man, you're wasting a bunch of percentage here. We have 80 more percent that we're not tapping into, because in this other 80% is suffering, pain, failure, self-doubt, darkness, and then a whole bunch of light. But to get to this light, you gotta go through all of this. So a lot of us know that. I can get over here, but over here, man, this is much better, because I gotta go through this journey that is not fun. This from 20 to 100%, this in between is not fun. So we decided to live over here. There were so many times in my life growing up I wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be part of a group, and I didn't have any want, and I didn't have that desire. So when you're trying to fit in, when you're trying to be cool, when you're trying to be whatever the hell it is, without having that internal dog, that fight, when things get hard in life, all you do is quit. When you have that internal in you, like I've developed over a lot of years, this dog, it starts to get built up in you, this fight, this warrior. And when things get difficult, you may not make it, but you come back. I wanted to be one of the 1%ers, not the 99%. I realized I had one life to live.